with everyone. Okay, let us begin. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope we're all ready to start. I hope we are excited for what we are going to learn today. Today is the third edition of the Purpose-Led Mentorship series. We launched in Uganda a while ago, and I must say, if you can read the testimonials of people that have been participating ever since we launched, you will be amazed. We have quite a number of people, even on the call, who can attest that ever since they invested the time in these sessions, they are seeing things from a different perspective. They are looking at their achievements differently. A mindset of abundance is now no clue what they are destined to create and to transform. So I would like to thank the people that are on this call live for being present and for trusting in investment of yourself. So thank you so much. I would like to start by letting you know what we are going to do today. Today we're going to go through our third session of our Purpose-Led Mentorship series. Our theme has and is going to continue to be leveraging your life purpose for growth and impact. We do have two speakers. I am one. I serve as both the moderator for the series, as well as the person that will be channeling the Ugandan community in this mindset change. It's really about helping people to understand what their potential is, what their ability is, leveraging your life purpose for growth and impact. If you have access to the chat, please share. Those who have been in the sessions or those who are coming in for the very first time, please just share the first thing that triggers your mind when you listen, when you hear that theme. Let me just read it one more time. Leveraging your life purpose for growth and impact. So please, let's keep engaging in the chat. Whatever you think about, be it one word, be it a sentence, be it 3 words, please let your mind allow to be triggered to understand what you want to do. I can attest to this program because I have been going through it myself. I had the privilege of meeting our main speaker, Gabriel Nyamu. They call him the Purpose Coach. And I met him in an HRMAU event. HRMAU is the Human Resource Managers Association of Uganda. So as I was participating in one of the trainings, like we have one on the 20th, where he is going to be speaking again about HR analytics, I took interest in getting to understand his profile, because that's what you do when you're a leader. When you're a leader, people follow you. People get interested to know what you bring to the table. What does your profile read? So getting to know Gabriel, I really understood that he is a transformational coach and in purposeful leadership. Let me just share a little bit about his profile. Gabriel is a husband and a father, and his life purpose is to transform people's mindsets for purpose-led generational impact. He is an all-seasoned corporate executive and a purpose coach with vast experience in purpose-led transformation for leadership and organizations through strategy, execution, human capital transformation, big data, data science, and market innovation. He has a track record in championing purpose-led transformation through mindset transformation. He believes in co-creating learning and knowledge with others through human-centered design thinking, agile principles, and disruptive technologies in achieving sustainable impact in the market spaces he can engage in. So you can imagine what kind of profile that is. And what you're hearing is not someone who is beyond you. This profile is something that you who is on this call is becoming. We are becoming the same. The reason why we are here today is to learn, generate this information, interpret it in our minds, and translate it to others. What I shared is once you get through this program, you will be a better mentor. For those who are coaches or getting into coaching, you'll be a better coach because you'll be addressing the internal agenda that people don't talk about. People always say, yes, I have a solution. You can do this and that, but they are not addressing what is within the human mind, what is within the purpose of the person that they haven't yet figured out. Over time, I'm pleased to share my own testimony. I have been able to understand my purpose and just segment it into three. It's around unity because I realize that I develop through seeing other people united. If I see people having conflict, if I see them struggling, if I see them unhappy with each other, I don't feel right about it. I feel like I should get into in it and try to see how to resolve it, or at least influence the resolution. I also realize that my second conviction is around inclusion. This is the same thing. If I see that people are being left out, and sometimes it's not intentional, but it happens. So when I see this happening, that it's not right, I believe that I am the one who has been destined to try to do something about it, because there is a category of people who will just complain. This is unfair. I don't like this. And then they try to tell the leaders, like, you guys, do something about this. But the way I see it, if we can all transform our minds to understand that we are part of the change, then I think that the transformation within our societies, within our families, within our workplaces, everywhere will be easier. And I also know that one of my other convictions is productivity. Now, this is something we all struggle with. We all want to do things faster. We want to be more effective at what we do. Basically, we don't want to be known as incompetent. We don't want to be judged for things that we fall short of. So over time, I've realized that within these three elements, if I just get them right, if I can be intentional about them, if I can share the message, just these three things can help me achieve my true purpose, the transformation that I wish to see. So this is a time of reflection. What is yours? What do we need to do? So just an introduction about what we are doing here. And this really circulates around what they call Purpose Verse. It's really an initiative that is Kenyan born. And that's just our neighborhood right there. Purpose Verse is a purpose-led initiative that works with individuals, leaders, and organizations towards achieving purpose-led transformation and transgenerational redemptive impact. At Purpose Verse, we believe that every human being and organization has a redemptive purpose that should positively impact people, the planet, and transcend beyond generations. It doesn't stop at you. Actually, it's not about you anymore. It's about the people that will live beyond your children's children. What are you doing right now that's going to affect the next generations? From 2022, Purpose Fest annually observes the entire month of October as the International Month of Redemptive Purpose through an annual event dubbed Purpose Fest, where we hold public sensitizations around purpose-led living and purpose-led leadership. During the event, we get an opportunity to network, recognize individuals and organizations who have demonstrated and practically modeled redemptive purpose-led impact in the ecosystems around them through the Purpose for Impact annual awards. So there you have it. You have an opportunity to be an award winner by October. Just as long as you listen to what Gabriel is going to share, I will be coming in as well as a user, but over time, he is coaching me to be able to handle the Ugandan community and also enable you to eventually handle the Ugandan community as well. So there you have it. We have so many opportunities to be award winners, to make a difference, to impact future generations. Best believe you are in the right place. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Gabriel. We have exactly 40 minutes for this interaction, and Gabriel would love to make it interactive. Gabriel, over to you.
Wow, amazing. I hope you can hear me on your end.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Shamim. Could you give Shamim some thumbs up, or I don't know what is convenient into your timeline? Could be a nice emoji. It could be a nice impression. Yes, I can see one. Kindly let's thank you, Darius, if I am not wrong. Anybody else? Can we give Shamim a thumbs up? Trying to check anybody else on the timeline. All right, good. So thank you so much for attending this session. Bear with me. Using a hotel facility somewhere that the lighting is not very good. So you might not be able to see my face well, though I can try to see whether there's a position that can be better. Let me
That's
see.
perfect.
That's better.
Yes.
Sorry,
Thank you.
I'm in a conference room somewhere, so the lighting is not that good for virtual call, but I think that's better. So thank you so much for wonderful preamble. That's from Shamim, our Ugandan chapter lead in terms of the purpose verse. And I think she's given a lot of background that I don't necessarily have to repeat quite a number of the things that she has talked about. So my name is Gabriel Nyamu, and I'm a purpose coach. And I do very simple, I have a simple mandate in this world, the reason why I'm born. And of course, it's just been that catalyst to help people live fulfilling, impactful, and transcending life that is purpose-led. I believe that life has a meaning, and whatever we do should literally be accounted for within the space-time that God allow us to live, which we call the lifetime. And I think Shamim will have really expounded on that, which is quite very profound. Today, may not necessarily be able to share any slides. I'll try to avoid as much as possible. I would like us to have a conversation. I like us to engage, because this is our third last free edition. We started in the month of May. We have held the other two free editions just to be able to allow people to engage with the purpose-led coaching. And maybe I can give that positioning aloud. Why purpose coaching? There are so many types of coaching. You know, the people who do the what we call the holistic life purpose coaching. There are career coaches. There are voice coaches. If you want to sing, there are football coaches. I mean, there are so many manner of coaches. But a purpose coach is more part of the life coach, but that more helps you anchor your life on the reason why you are born. So that question why is very critical. Humanity suffers around three things. When you check what really keeps people worried about life, mostly you can almost align it to three things. The first one is what we call identity. Who I am, who is Gabriel? I spent a lot of time in consultancy, including who I am right now. I'm in Rwanda, Kigali, though I'm based in Kenya. And sometimes you go and ask people, okay, tell me who you are, and people will tell you what they do. Somebody will tell you I'm an accountant. I am a HR. I am a engineer. I'm a praba. That's quite easy to explain, but you question them, is that really you? Were you born a praba? Nowhere. That's what you do. So we suffer, first of all, an identity issue. Now you can imagine living life where you really don't know who you are. That's quite miserable. And that's why things like even mental health, dissonance in terms of identity and the things that, of course, happening currently, you can almost attribute them to the identity question. Who are you? Literally, not necessarily what you do. It looks quite a very simple question, but I can dare say that it's one of the biggest dilemma in the world. People are not able to articulate their own identity. Even the kind of challenge we have right now in the 21st century around, I don't know, identity crisis, gender issues, sexuality issues, all those things are all boiling down to identity. Who are you? Now, the second thing that is a dilemma in humanity is actually now the reason why we are here. Why am I here? So there's who I am, which is always the beginning point. But then there's, of course, why am I here? And not just why am I here? Why am I here such a time? Why did I not exist 18th century? Why did not this Godwin here, this Harrison, this Juliet, why were you not born in 19th century? That's a very serious question. So why am I here such a time? And that then informs your missional undertaking here on earth, the second biggest challenge in the world today. So people have achieved accolades, qualifications, certifications, degrees, masters, PhD, titles, including honorable members like our MPs, all those things. But sometimes there's no direction on why are they doing what they are doing. Now, one of the greatest threat about the second question is something, of course, we call the survival. The whole things around life, mostly, they will force you to always focus on individual survival, meaning earn a living, take your children to school, just the bare minimum, but don't focus on anything beside that. So you find you just have enough to educate your kids, have enough to buy a house, or even two. There are people who have 3 houses. It's okay, but it's about you. Have enough to take care of your utilities, pay your power, pay your gas, gasoline, and all that. And that's it there. And even for those who are in business sometimes, and I spend a lot of time in consultancy, it's more about let me do this business so that I can finance my living, what we call earn a living. That's a second biggest dilemma questioned in the world. Of course, the third one is, I call it destiny generally. The destiny is, of course, after doing all these things, what is the end of all? Where is everything going to? Is it just a river flowing and you don't know where it's heading to, whether it's an ocean or a lake it's going to drain to? And humanity, most of the time, you struggle with that. And that become a very big challenge because if you can't connect the dots on where everything is heading to, then you lack even motivation and desire. And this is where the aspect of transgenerational issue comes in. Let me check. Justin, can you confirm I can be heard clearly? I know in a room where may not be very
Yes.
favorable. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
All right. Yeah, I don't want to assume. I'm still in a conference room where people are coming in and going out. Good. So that third question is a very big question because it goes beyond you as an individual and the lifetime. Now, the concept of living, or what you call lifetime, has nothing to do with how long you live. It's not about longevity. The people who can live 80 years, but there's no meaningful value or impact through their life. But the people who can just serve even for 30 years, like we know for those who are Christians, Jesus never lived 100 years, but for 33 years, he's built a movement that even today, it is still visible. So it's not about longevity of the time on how long you have lived on earth or kind of on this universe. That's the third issue. So remember, the first thing was about identity. Who are you? So even when you are subscribing to go and do, let's say, a course for those who are looking for jobs, you are doing that accounting or degree in project management or engineer or data science as who? Because the degree will not give you identity. And that's what has made people very frustrated. You think when you pursue a course that will give you identity. Then you discover it doesn't give you identity. Sometimes actually leave you more confused because the who you are has nothing to do with what you study in school. You're born for a course, and predestination of, in terms of the why, it's not you who give yourself. You only discover it. I can't give myself purpose. It's God who created me, of course, who have my purpose. So I was trying to go through that just to give you a perspective. I know we have gone through it already with those who have attended the previous 2 sessions, so I'm just going to amplify it for those who are joining for the first time. That humanity struggle with those 3 things. So purpose coaching mostly will always focus around that. Shamim, I've just mentioned about concepts around convictions. There are a few questions I can ask you, maybe even to reflect right now, even as we continue, because before I open up for a session for question and answer. If somebody is to ask you, Harrison, what are your life convictions? I don't know what you'll say. Juliet, Nakintu, what's your life convictions? Marion Peace, Tadizwa, Arex, Dolcas, what's your life convictions? Are there 2 things that are truthful in you that they become the light to the world? Because conviction is the knowledge of truth that activates you to become light in the world. So that you start for a certain cause because you believe in a certain cause. So if somebody is to question that, it's very easy to answer simple questions of what do you want to become? That's okay. But what guide that direction should be the direction of your personal conviction. And I want you to journal some of those questions that in your own free time, you can question yourself in your own devotional time. What are your life convictions? Number two question is, what will the universe miss or lose to have if you are never born? Just ask yourself. These are questions that are very heavy when you start reflecting them in depth. Somebody will ask you, what is really will the world or the universe or the creation miss? Meaning there will be a cause that was not redeemed because of non-existence of Godwin, of Juliet, of Justine, and all the other team that are in this call. What is that? Or will you pass through lifetime, but it's almost unnoticed? There are places where even you can go somewhere and you're never noticed. I mean, it's like nobody even care whether you are there or not. Now, if you consider that in life, what is that thing that will make you at least without you? And that's what we talk about redemptive. Redemptive means something like really, without it, there's a cause to worry. So will humanity have anything to miss if your life was not there? When you start questioning those questions, you'll discover the transactional work we do has nothing to do with redemption. Because anybody can do the accounting that I do. Anybody can do, I'm a data scientist. Everybody else can do data science, so long as they can study that. Strategy, I do strategy. Anybody can do strategy if they go and study. So that is not necessarily what the universe will miss if I was never born. There must be a conviction of something redemptive, something that actually either improve the quality of humanity, reduce the human suffering, or empower people, all those things, and make the universe a better place than, of course, you are born. But it looks easy. It's not easy. There's a whole conversation around that you have really to reflect. That's a big question to ask, and maybe I can task you to start thinking in that direction of those questions. Of course, you can also ask yourself, the other things which I can kind of give as a perspective is that if you're doing something that literally ends with you, I think you need to rethink your life. Meaning you started life and you ended life and everything ended with you, you need to question that. Could there be something that we had over? We are on a place where we are taking over things that are redemptive from our past generation. We, of course, will influence our current generation, but of course, we also leave a mark that can shape reality and the track of life in the next generation. But what is that? And you discover that God has created, we now have almost 8 billion people in the world, but everybody is unique. Just like your DNA pattern, your fingerprints, your iris in your eye, all these identities, it shows that literally you're identical. So as much as you may be doing the same things in terms of activity, but you're not the same. So what is that thing that then differentiates you from the rest of the people? That's why this session is there. So we were able to launch successfully, and congratulations to Shamim for taking this bold step to champion purpose-led movement in Uganda. We are opening a few other chapters in Zambia, in Rwanda, and many other places very soon. And we're happy at least this movement is going through the entire Africa. And it's just to liberate people from just moving, just not working for just survival. I do a lot of predetermined programs where I go to speak to organizations. They are retrenching employees, when they are laying off, when they are doing restructuring, when they have VR programs for, VER, what we call voluntary early retirement. And I always feel sad when I speak to people who have worked for 30 years in an organization and they're telling me, Gabriel, I still feel I have not really, I'm feeling empty. Yet, probably some of these people have already gone and listened through the whole corporate ladder. There are some of them CEOs, some of them are directors, which every young person is yearning, wanting to become one. Yet these people are actually saying, I feel still I am dissatisfied, or I feel I have a sense of voidiness or kind of emptiness in the process. I don't want to talk much because I know I can talk here until tomorrow about concepts of this, but I want to open up this session. We had agreed this session will be more of Q&A, so that at least we can be able to pick questions from you, and then out of it, definitely, we can be able to engage. So I think I'll be more keen to listen more from you, what you may want to hear after that background. I don't know whether there's any question that may have come in as I was speaking. It's happy to engage. So let's start off the conversation.
Okay. Actually, there are a few questions that came in before. For those
All
who
right.
are new to this, we do have a WhatsApp group that we created when we launched. So there are a few questions that came in, and I would like to start with those as those who are live on the call think of any follow-up questions that are really bothering them and something that they understand would actually impact people. From the way I profile the participants, I know quite a number of them on a personal basis, and I can attest that they have followings as well. They are leaders as well in their own right, and because of this, they probably have questions not only from their own, but also questions that other people ask them. So let's all feel free to share our questions, either that are within our minds that we really need to get answered, either on behalf of ourselves or on behalf of others. So I'll start with two questions that came in through the question on the WhatsApp group. They came in inbox. The first one, Gabriel, people would like to understand what are some common obstacles to finding life purpose. That is a general question. Please share what, as people are pursuing their goals, what are those obstacles that you believe are quite common, and how can we really overcome them? And then, secondly, can I have more than one life purpose? Because usually we are all over the place. We want so many different things. So is it possible to have more than one, or do they all have to be linked in a way? Maybe you can start by answering those two questions. Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shamim. And really, for those who um, that are asking those questions, they are very targeted. There's a quality of questions that you pick. Somebody have really thought through about it. I'll start with the first one, of course, the obstacles. And obstacles are very many. But I think the biggest obstacle is purely the worldview. The worldview is the way you look at the world. And not just the world, the way you look at reality in the world. That's a very significant component because you usually say that your life will always project your worldview. The invisible, the unseen will always be seen. That's why all of us were born from something that you could not see. When our parents joined together, and like now we are here, if you look at your life where you're coming from, we came from something that is so subatomic at a very nuclear level, almost being an atom or even through an atom, something very invisible. But there's a principle around it. The things that you see literally as reality of the world, they are a product of some invisible reality. Now, one critical component in life is your worldview. That's why we always question the issue of convictions. Currently, we have readers have no convictions. That's why leaders will come and promise you great things, especially politicians, and they deliver nothing. What is missing there? It's not lack of knowledge. They have enough knowledge, literally, but they lack convictions. They lack the light that they should be the light to the world. That's the big question. So your worldview shapes the reality within your life because you argue and make decisions. Look at your life, for example. How many decisions have you made this year? You try to introspect that kind of a conversation. How many decisions have you made so far this year? And I'd like you maybe to start questioning that. In a typical day, how many decisions did you make? Some you make them unconsciously. But when you interrogate behind those decisions, there was a certain judgment or intuition. Behind the judgment, there's a whole worldview, and part of it is in your subconsciousness. So sometimes you're making decisions not because really cognitively you're conscious. There are deals you could have gotten today, but you didn't get. Why? You probably were closed. You didn't see it, but it passed you. Okay. The relationship, for example, you could have even joining this session is a decision you made. You could have opted not to come and join this purpose coaching or this webinar here. But what will make somebody when they see the invite and you check, we are 24 here. I'm sure there are quite a number, maybe double of these who saw the invite, but they didn't come. Why? Because their worldview is questioning, what will I get out of this? Is it really important? I think my life is okay, or probably I don't understand. And because of that worldview, they make a decision not to. Now, by that decision, there is a consequence for that decision. So for that question about what is the greatest hindrance, I'll talk about that mindset, because worldview is shaped by the thoughts and the mind, which are in the mind. So to expound it further is this: the way we have been oriented to life mostly is just to be able to survive. Just like the way ordinary creation does. Animals and, elephants and the birds in the air, they wake up every day. In fact, this is the reason why for those who believe in the Bible, in the scripture, in the book of Matthew, Jesus himself wants and tells people, do not worry what to eat, what to drink, what to dress, all those things. And he says that even the pagans worry about the same things, because everybody is a human. So being a human means you are a living organism, and therefore you need to eat, you need to feed. But those worries will actually keep you worried for life. I usually make a statement to say, what worries you will keep you worried for life. So the biggest hindrance is that worldview. Most of us have gone to school so that you are alive. I hear people talk about which degree or master's can I do so that I get promoted. When you question, you realize it's about survival. So until you change that worldview, it is very hard to live purpose-led life. Does it mean that you don't need to survive? No. But those are very elementary needs that actually even any other, even living organism, whether it's birds in the air, animals in savannah, they're also surviving. They're looking for something to eat. So our preconditions, especially in the introduction to the worldview, including the introduction to the workplace, or even starting a business. There's a research actually that shows that more than almost 80% of the businesses are started from a point of survival for earning a living, not because of any impact issue. Now, the question is, why you created for yourself? You came, being born, to live for yourself. That's a very low level of how you can define the reason for our life. So that's called worldview, and that's the biggest challenge, especially in the workplace. In fact, check, people will always desire to go and get employed, for example. Talk to the same people 5 years down the line. They're telling you, Gabriel, I'm unhappy, I'm looking for another job, this thing is not satisfying. They will always give you all those manner of issues. This is a person you met last year telling you they're looking for promotion. They get that promotion, you meet the person again 6 months, they are so dissatisfied. Why? It's a chase after the wind. So direction without purpose, of course, will always be very frustrating. So I think that's, for me, is the biggest issue. Of course, there are many other reasons why you may have some obstacles towards purposeful living. The second question is around, of course, whether can you have more than one purpose. I think, who am I to say you can't? Because it's not me who give purpose. It's not an individual who give you purpose. It's purely God. It's a creator who give you purpose. So he can't choose to make that happen. However, I think from just various observations in life, you'll always find there's a singularity in the purpose. Now, let me first of all clarify why that questions could be coming. That question could be coming because a confusion of mission and purpose. You can have various missional commitment, missional. And I'll give you an example, just the way maybe you may understand from the history when the missionaries came to Africa, and because they wanted to propagate and spread the gospel, the purpose, of course, was to spread the good news, especially the first one. I know the around the third was not very legit, but the initial genuine missionary, they were coming just to be able to propagate and spread the gospel. That was their purpose. However, the way to do it, which we call the missional engagement, was various. They will start schools. That's why we talk about mission schools. They will start homes for the elderly. That's missional homes. Notice the word mission. They will start hospitals. They will start schools, missional schools, mission hospitals. They will fund agriculture. So those are missional commitments. So you can have several missional commitments, but they are all serving one purpose. So I know that question may be coming because of that. We tend not necessarily be differentiating between the mission and the purpose, because the purpose is the why. Chances are, and to a large extent, the why is actually the same. But when it comes to the missional commitments, you may achieve it because mission are the things you must do to fulfill the why. and those ones can be several. They are the pathways, of course. Sorry, excuse me. So the missions can be various, but they may also not be so many. You may find maybe there are 2 or 3 ways you can be able to achieve a purpose. That's okay. But the purpose itself, chances are, it's the same. It's just one. There's a singularity. But as I said, who am I to say you can't have more than one? We can't limit God. But as from the patterns I see, having coached and talked to hundreds and thousands of people, most likely I've seen a certain convergence in a small, kind of a one converging purpose alignment. But missional engagements could be several. Now, when you are beginning the discovery journey, you'll actually end up having multiple. But as you continue refining and kind of freezing into a certain, pursuing it literally, you'll always find a convergence of your purpose. I hope I've been able to attempt to answer this question, but I'm happy to dissect as we continue.
Yes, as you're sharing, I am actually thinking about my own journey because I believe since so far I've discovered the 3 areas that I could call my convictions. I feel that they all lead to the same thing. So I know that it's a work in progress. Everything, Rome wasn't made in one day. So thank you very much. I think that really answers the question, Gabriel. So we have one on the chat alive. If you have any question, thought, feedback, don't hesitate to drop it in the chat or raise your hand and share live because we want to make the best out of the last few minutes. So we have Godwin or team raising. So I'll read the one on the chat, then Godwin will share his, then you will reply to both. Hope that's okay with you, Gabriel.
Yes, I can
Okay.
read for, yeah.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
Moira Adeke says, we have to deal with people who have reached their retirement age and are not sure about their purpose at that point. They're actually worried of what being unemployed leaves them. How best can one be guided to discover their purpose at that point? We want to make sure that it's not too late. How can we deal with the people in that category? And yes, Godwin, you can unmute and ask your question as well.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, Gabriel and Shamim. Thank you too for organizing this. I could have missed a few of the earlier cohorts or the sessions, but I'm just glad to be here today, and I'm excited to hear what Gabriel is sharing. It's really a great subject. My comment and maybe question is, I'm also a career coach. My conviction is really been in inspiring, motivating, and empowering people, especially to achieve their maximum potential, of course, in line with their purpose. I think coaching over maybe coming to hundreds now, I have often faced a question about, my strengths, because, there's always a challenge between the passions that people have, that people possess, and their actual strength that complement, you to become, I would say, of value or productive in a particular line, such that it's not just about survival, but it links with your purpose. So the question is directly, how would you advise, people who are trying to, they are passionate about a few things, but either the strength is not coming through or they are strong in other areas and they struggle with that dilemma. I think I'm a great communicator. I think I'm this, I'm that. But then they find themselves maybe really interested in certain sports. That's really where they, a combination of things which seem not related. What would you advise on that? Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Godwin. An amazing question, literally, especially coming from a coach also. So that's quite very insightful. Now, the previous question, of course, that we have had to deal with people who have reached their retirement age and are not sure about their purpose. I can tell you, it's quite significant. I don't know. I think for those who may have missed the previous sessions, especially the May and June, I shared where my journey started, which is almost 20 years ago, when I worked in this company and I was working in a bank. By God's grace, I was working in HR. We had almost 5,000 employees, a big bank generally, and I had a privilege to oversee a whole retrenchment and a whole VER program. And being part of the HR team was quite emotional, and I was quite young that time, 3 years into the employment. And we were of around 104 employees. And I remember these employees who had quite served 27, 30 years. They were in their mid 50s, and some of them actually just close to 60. And I remember talking to most of them. 97 of them actually passed through my desk because I had to calculate their terminal benefits. And I remember talking to them, well-accomplished guys, people who are running real estate. They are driving, the best cars. They are living the best estate, all those things. One lady, actually, the children were all schooling and not had finished school. Actually, they were working abroad. And I remember that lady sitting on my desk and telling me, Gabriel, I've served here for 27 years. My children are all working abroad, not even in Kenya. And she's taking home several, in Kenyan shillings, approximately, tens of millions of Kenyan shillings. That's a lot of money. And she sat down and told me, Gabriel, thank you. I appreciate this package, Vera's package, and thank you for the consideration. Yes, it's quite enough money that can take you and live for the next 20 years without having to work anyway. But she told me, but I feel I'm still going home empty. And I got confused. That's back in 2007. I felt confused. How can you tell me you're feeling empty? I'm a 3-year-old employee in the bank. I'm also ambitious because everybody has ambitions to one day become successful. So I was defining success in such that this is somebody who has become almost a director, first of all. So in terms of going to the C-level, almost now heading to become a CEO. In terms of achievement, everything you think. This somebody is running multiple estates, flats, real estate, everything. But she's telling me deep within me, I feel some emptiness. Children are all working. So we call it an empty nest. Nobody who is buying diapers there, nobody. But the lady is feeling empty. And that's just an example. Meaning, I met somebody actually in Kampala also who is running a business, multi-billionaire actually, a business in 6 countries, and in a golf club, actually in Kampala, one of the golf clubs there. And I remember talking to this gentleman, successful business. He told me, Gabriel, I feel I want to sell off my business. I asked him why. And this business, we Googled it. I could see what he's doing, quite crazy stuff. He tells me, I think I have achieved what I needed in terms of financial. So even my 4th generation don't have to work. Even if they don't have to work, they can survive. That's a person who's telling you, I've created wealth for that 4th generation, meaning, why am I opening the business every day? But now he gets scared to tell me, I used to have 30 employees. Now I have 1,200 employees under my company. It scares him every day because he has already achieved the financial, but he's feeling, so why am I running this business now? I'm no longer looking for money. He has the money. So when he told me I'm selling, but he's looking for private equity firm or a venture capital to come and buy off the business. Emptiness again. So I wanted to address that issue of, if God has made it in a way that life has patterns that actually that can be able to tell you your direction of a purpose. But because of the first question of obstacles, you are likely not to discern it because you're working mostly to survive, as we said, to earn a living, to educate our babies, and we are all parents, we are doing that. But that's not necessarily the core. We call that universal purpose. And for those who have attended the previous session, I've talked about an exposition around 4 purpose dimensions. There's something you call universal purpose. Like you tell me you are serving God, everybody should serve God. You're glorifying God, everybody should glorify God. You are improving livelihood of people, everybody should do so. So there's nothing unique there. So if you tell me my purpose is to make people improve their life, that's so generic and general. There's something called purpose for humanity, where it's a purpose for you being a human being. So the universal purpose, even animals and stones and the rivers and the mountains are serving the universal purpose. The human purpose, all the 7.8 billion people in the world are serving something. There are the dominions bestowed on humanity that an animal will never have. Because there's a purpose for humanity. Then there's a purpose for the age. Why are you in the 21st century and you're not born in the 19th century? Why is it scientific revolution only happened in 17th century? And up to date, the scientific discovery is only that now we are trying to get what we call quantum discoveries. But all the things we've been relying on were discovered in 17th century and 18th century. Why? Because there's a purpose of the age, and your individual purpose aligned to the age. Then finally, there's what we call the individual purpose. So if you're able to understand that dimension, it's very easy to clarify that, yes, you fulfill the universal purpose, the purpose for humanity, the purpose for the age through your individual purpose. As I said, because life has been taken as a staircase, the worldview is what has influenced people not to discover. And I hope you've seen these statistics being mentioned every year, that 87% of the workforce, the working population, are unhappy. They wake up every day to do things they hate, but they have to do it anyway because they have to earn a living. That's a question. Then if you do that, it means you retire still doing the things that you hate, or the things that don't give you fulfillment, joy, and impact, but you have to do them for survival and still continue after retirement struggle. That's why most people after retirement, they really don't struggle. Now, to go back to Godwin very fast, because I've taken a lot of time on that first one. Godwin, the biggest issue we have, especially on that space of, you have mentioned keywords there, potential and passion, and there's purpose. I know people who go through what you call the Ikigai model, which is Japanese meaning for meaning. Actually, they also sometimes will call it purpose, but there's a way we expose it in depth in our purpose coaching. It's a dilemma by itself. Now, I like using the worldview of purpose has nothing literally in the beginning to do with your passion. And that statement usually scare people because we have listened to so many motivational speakers who tell you do what you love. I dare tell you, you don't begin with the passion. And I will explain this. And even biblically for those who are believers, show me who loved what God called them to do in the beginning. The key word there, in the beginning. Moses struggled with the God. He was saying, I'm incompetent. How would you send me to go and redeem the children? Look at everybody, Elijah, Gideon, everybody in the Bible struggled. Myself, when God convicted me about even doing this, purpose coaching and all that, which is almost 15 years ago, I struggled. Why? My structured way of work, I was a scientist and I'm still a scientific mindset, but I was so introverted that I didn't want to face people. But then God is telling me, you have to go and improve people's life, especially directing them to their life purpose. I struggled because I'm an introvert. I love sitting behind the laptop and doing my coding and doing analytics and those flashy things, but not speak to people. It took me 3 years to kind of confront that reality. If I was to obey what I love, let me tell you, I'll have been lost. And if even God unveiled to you your purpose, when you're not prepared, sometimes you get scared because you'll fight with it. Because God may be telling you, go to prison so that you redeem those people who love going to prison. Nelson Mandela, you tell me he loved going to prison. No. Now, we have been lied for in terms of the issue of passion. But the thing is, do you need passion? Yes. But let me define passion for you. Passion is the energy you generate through act of obedience in execution of the convictions you have. That God put for you conviction that I need to make sure these young people who are drinking, they stop drinking. Not because necessarily you like it, but by you obeying, and you then see the impact of that obedience. Let me tell you, it generates the genuine, we call it purpose-led passion. Now, there's a difference between normal passion, because the normal passion mostly is usually selfish. And this is the way we explain it. If somebody tells you, I love adventure, so I love going to Masai Mara, the savannah, to see lions. Question is, what is the redemptive impact of loving that? I love reading books. I love being in nature. Who get to benefit by you loving to nature? So there are two sets of passion. There's passion that is more directed to you, which is very selfish, and mostly is not the purpose. That one has nothing to do with your purpose. Me loving adventure, loving traveling, loving whatever, most of it is actually your own, there's something you are drawing. But purpose is what you give, not what you receive. I hope you get that point. So what you give, not what you receive. So purpose-led passion is more geared to what is happening, the transformation happening, the impact happening to the other people by your act of obedience. That's why Nelson Mandela will live in prison. Who love to be in prison? Nobody. But you'll be there because he's still excited that liberation is taking place, even if it's through pain, because pain sometimes can be a language of purpose. So we've been lied to sometimes by motivational speakers, not coaches. Motivational speakers tell you, do what you love. Now, the other thing is, what you love keeps shifting. What you learned 5 years ago, you no longer love it because maybe you are more exposed. There are things, knowledge you didn't know, you have knowledge. So you keep on shifting. Now, when you keep on shifting, it means If you anchor your life on the things you love, you keep changing. Today you are wearing in red, tomorrow you are loving black, tomorrow you are running a kiosk, the other day you love something else, you learn a boutique to sell clothes. You'll always be learning helter-skelter, jumping from one area of passion to another, and that is very frustrating. The other question is about potential. And me talk about talent and gifting. Gifts are not directional. I know that's a very big statement I'm making. Gifts do not have any direction. Because God can give you gift to public speaking. So you have oratory skills, you can engage audience and all that. But it doesn't mean that that gift itself, it's giving you a direction, because you can misuse a gift. I usually say even terrorists are using gifts, but in the wrong way. So again, if you go to potential can be very overwhelming. Why? Shamim can tell you an assignment you are doing with her sometimes back, and I usually give people that assignment. Go and write down for me all the things you can do and classify them, the things you can do excellently, middle in terms of averagely, and maybe somehow. That inventory is so deep. Myself, the first time I did it, I can do 67 things. I can play guitar, I can play keyboard, I can coordinate charm, I can farm, I can do 67 things, and I can do them well. Now, if I can do 67 things, that's a potential issue. What should I do? Now, the strengths are good to do an assessment, and you do them. You do inventory assessment on your strength. Let me tell you, the strengths themselves may not necessarily give you the direction. Why? They can be misused. I can have strength and I choose to use it in the wrong way. I can have the strength to be creative, but I use creativity to destroy. So strength themselves still don't give you the direction. However, the convergence of your strength, you'll discover the gifts are the resources that serves the purpose. They are not purpose by themselves. It's something that we do a lot of exposition in the whole process. And this process mostly calls for what you call rewiring the brain. And that's why we always say, begin with the convictions first. What is missing link is the conviction aspect. And as I said, conviction is the form of truth that activates you to actually redeem others or meet the needs of others. That's the convictions. If you are clear with those convictions, you discover the convictions you have are actually different from Shamim, different from Barbara, different from Godwin. And convictions are not like values, the way you talk about values and all that. It is strongly deep hidden truths that shed light in you, that liberate others. There's a process we use, actually. We usually cover conviction for 5 weeks, and you discover how people live with no convictions. And therefore, whatever they do, they are doing it just following and chasing after the weed, which is very frustrating. I know I've taken a lot of time. Maybe I've also alluded into other areas, but I'm happy to have that kind of a conversation.
Wow, that's amazing. Just like I told the participants right from the beginning, once you start listening to Gabriel, you just want him to keep speaking and speaking, because every single phrase, every sentence you're learning, you feel like you're growing. And the best part about it is that I asked him yesterday because we had a call. I'm in his personal circle. At least I'd love to think that now. So we talk regularly, and I just asked, how many countries within Africa have you traveled in just this year? Said 5 and counting. Right now he's in Rwanda. Wow. So those are the kind of people that we are dealing with right now, and this is the influence that we are going to soak up. We just got started. We have had only 3 sessions. Just like Gabriel said, just one topic can take about a few weeks. So, Gabriel, at this point, I'd like you to share with us what we would have in store in terms of making this more sustainable. Yeah, we've been triggered right now. If someone comes to ask us a bit about their own purpose, maybe we would have 1 or 2 phrases to share based on what we have learned today. Good thing is that all those that have joined today, you will receive the recording. I'll also circulate it in all my networks, on my LinkedIn. All the last 3, including this session, have been free of charge. Gabriel, please share with us what does it look like to have this more, maybe have a cohort? What does it entail? What would we need to prepare? how can we really develop the skills that we need to be able to mentor others, to be able to find our own purpose, liberate others? There are so many people who are stuck, and right now it feels like they are imprisoned in their own mind. We need to let them free. We need to start with ourselves. We need to be free. So kindly share with us really what you have in store for us with regards to this program. I will be supporting in making sure that the impact is not only monitored, but it is felt, because through that I will feel the satisfaction according to